It's a five-word country, and even they don't have an
The United States of America is a five-word country.
States, United, the and of are all self-explanatory, but the America part makes a lot less sense than you might think.
As we all know, America was discovered by Christopher Columbus in 1492.
And discovered is the right word because there definitely weren't people living there already.
And it was
United States. It's a country which doesn't make any sense because due to its five words, why does belong to America? Christopher Columbus was one of the first persons to discover the new continent.
definitely him who discovered it, not the Chinese in 1421 or the Vikings around the year 1000.
The China theory is heavily debated.
And it was definitely the United States of America he discovered in 1492, not some Caribbean islands.
Good to be clear.
But although Columbus had reached a new world, he never reached the realisation he'd reached it.
He'd set out in search of an alternative route to the spices of the East Indies and wrongly
Christopher Columbus wasn't really the first person who discovered America. It's a highly debated theory that the Chinese were first and after that the Vikings. And he went to the to the West Caribbean, to the East Caribbean islands, and he called it as India.
thought he'd found one.
And so he named the Caribbean islands the West Indies because he'd sailed west to find them. Which is weird because if he thought about it and he had actually gone around the world and hit the East Indies, he'd have hit them on the east side, so he probably should have called them the East Indies. So if he had been right, the West Indies would today be on the eastern side of the Indies, which is ridiculous.
But Columbus wasn't the only European who'd had a 15th century
Columbus, instead of calling the Caribbean islands West India, should call him another way to be facing the islands in a different direction. And Christopher Columbus wasn't the first and the only European going to America.
midlife crisis that involved buying a massive boat and sailing west until he'd come to terms with his own mortality.
Just 1 year after Columbus first reached the South American mainland, Italian explorer Amerigo Vespucci got there second.
But the crucial difference between Vespucci and Chris, as people in the voyaging business referred to him, is Vespucci did know he'd reached a brand new continent, and word soon spread of an exciting new world.
Instead of Christopher Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci, 1 year after Columbus came back to Europe, he realized that it wasn't India, the country or the place that he were in. He were in a new continent, and he was going to announce that.
Hear ye, hear ye! There's a brand new continent we knew nothing about until now, full of gold and spices and exciting new vegetables!
Mapmakers around the world set to work creating new and up-to-date world maps, each with their own dreadful renderings of the increasingly but still not very discovered continent.
One of these mapmakers was a German called Martin Waldseemüller, who in 15
And after that discovery of Amerigo Vespucci, all of the map makers were doing an updated and brand new map. And one of the first ones was the German Martin Waldseemüller.
1507 had all but finished his magnificent new world map, except for one small detail: what to name the new continent everyone was talking about.
He very likely would have named it Columbia, after the widely agreed discoverer of the New World, Columbus. But Amerigo Vespucci had some very clever PR people who were falsifying documents and spreading lies about exactly when he'd reached the New World.
And
It's the map maker, the first map maker with the new continent discovered, ruled the entire continent. Like he wasn't know he wasn't know which name he gave it, and he was thinking about Colombia due to the name of Christopher Columbus being the first one. But based on the fake news that spread, America Vespucci saying that he was the first, then he was like being auto proclaimed as the the first that discovered the new continent.
These lies must have reached the ears of Martin Waldseemüller,
You're listening to the Vespucci Hour on Explorer FM.
Amerigo, he got there first.
because he made the fateful decision to label the new continent America.
Latin for Amerigo.
Waldseemüller published his map complete with an unnecessarily long Latin title.
Complete map following of Ptolemy, the tradition, and of Amerigo Vespucci, of others, also the illustrations.
If you zoom into
Instead of getting a very simple, complex name of the continent, we got a very super long one, and he decided to put America in honor based on the fake news or the name of the name of America Vespucci.
his map and look carefully, you can see the little word America